So we're sort of on the tail end, not the tail end, we got a couple hours left. Our journey from Detroit to Kiowa Island in South Carolina. We're in South Carolina right now. The weather is delightful. It's 73 degrees, which is about 50 more than it is back home. Feels good on these old bones. But one of the things that I wanted to hit on, so this thing, this is large. This is the biggest one you can get. It's the Grand Wagoneer Level 3 Obsidian L, which weighs like 6,700 pounds if the internet is to be believed, and I believe them. It's big, but driving it doesn't feel big. You kind of got to adjust braking a little bit, just because driving around a 4,400 pound truck or the Wrangler or whatever, or any of the cars, you can drive pretty aggressively and just get on the brakes and you stop. This one, you got to plan it a little more, but it's really calm. Like the braking's calm. There's no suddenness. Once I get my mind wrapped around, I can't drive like I drive the Demon, then we're all good. But one thing I'm super excited about, I don't know, 2 months ago, everyone thought that they had a big scoop with, Stellantis is bringing back the ICE. They said they were going to kill it. They never said that. They said they were going to kill the Hemi. The Hemi had a good run. It was 20 years, and we'd all like to see it continue, but it's just not feasible at this point. The Hurricane has been, I think it was in development way back when I worked at Chrysler years ago. So this is something they've been thinking about, talking about for a long time, and it was always part of the future plan. Like when they designed this, the new car platform, the Charger Daytona, which will be the first one that comes out. From the get-go, they designed these to be multi-energy, and I was trying to tell people that, and everyone's like, "Well, Motor Trend said that the ICE engine is dead. Stellantis isn't building it anymore. Chrysler's not using it. Dodge won't have the Hellcats." And it's like, okay, they said the Hemi was gone. Nobody ever said the ICE engine was gone. So what brings me to talk about this is this vehicle this is my first time driving anything with the straight six twin turbo Hurricane engine in it. And this version has 510 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque. And it moves. It's way quicker than the 6.4, and it gets like 5 to 6 more miles per gallon. Like I'm getting 18 right now, which for something that weighs as much as a herd of elephants is pretty incredible. But what I'm stoked about is this engine plus 40 more horsepower is what's going in. I believe it's the 6-pack. I can't remember the exact nomenclature for the Charger, but next year when the internal combustion engine powered version of the new Charger comes out, the new Charger Daytona, whatever the name might be down the road, it's going to be in something that weighs 2,400 pounds less, and it's got 50 more horsepower. That is going to move. Like this, I wish we're in traffic. I was hoping I could slow down and gun it, but it's just not happening right now. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we got an open stretch. I'm going 70. I'm just going to punch it. 80, 90, 100, 110. I mean, that's impressive. Listen, I get it. I've had multiple Hemi cars. I've had 2 Demons. I've probably driven more in just about every single performance version of the SRT has, and put tons of miles on all of them. I like V8s. I like supercharged V8s. I like 840. I like 1,025 horsepower. But to act like your life is over because there's no more Hemi when this engine is making more power by quite a bit than the 6.4 did, and not this engine in particular, this one is 510, so it's a little bit more, but when the high output version, the 550 comes out, in tune for a car, I think it's going to scream. So I, for one, I'm not the old stuck in the mud curmudgeon like, muscle cars are this, and because we've changed the definition of all of those since 1968. The definitions have been evolving depending on what's going on in the world. Like, this isn't the first geopolitical whatever that caused a shift in automotive performance. Like, I remember, obviously fuel injection was dictated by emissions. And there was a lot of guys that are like, oh, I'll never switch. And then you figure out, like, I remember going to the track when I was a kid, and I had a 94 Z28. And it wasn't super quick, but, no, I'm sorry, this was the 98 Z28. But it ran 11s. And this dude's, like, bringing his Nova to the track, his 73 Nova, and it's got, like, all the, the sponsors and the stickers on it. And he's tracking it there, and he's running slower than my daily driver crappy Z28, and he's like, "Oh, you spraying that thing?" I'm like, no, I'm not spraying it. He's like, "Oh, what kind of turbo supercharger?" I'm like, it's just a stock block, man. Like, at that point, I didn't even have the torque converter on it, so I think I ran like a 12.7. It wasn't crazy. It ended up being a little bit quicker than that. And he just didn't believe me. Like, there are performance benefits when it comes to the evolution of motorsports. And there's always going to be a bunch of guys that are, obviously, because it's a political hot topic, that raises just another amount of virulence and anger, and, everyone wants to fight each other. I've always liked, even with genres of vehicles, if it's cool, it's cool. Like, I dig it. Like, I'm really going to have a lot of fun with EVs that run 8s out of the box. Like, that's pretty dang cool. And they have everyday driving manners. Like, you can drive them wherever, and there's not a bunch of prep. Like, I also, there's a big spot in my heart for when you got to really dial in a vehicle and drive it. But I'm not mad at, an EV being a microwave and enjoying it for that speed. And you know what it is. It is what it is. I think as they advance, they're going to become, more fun, more interactive. But we'll see where that goes. Anyways, all of this to say, well, I'm excited also about this EV direction. Long live, or what is it? The king is dead. Long live the king. Like, this twin turbo straight six is going to be ridiculous, and I don't think that's going to be the last foray into that kind of that world. There's so much more to be gained. We'll see what happens, but back to, this is impressive. I like it a lot, but just a little side plot there. This engine is freaking awesome. Now, clearly, it doesn't sound like a V8, but when you start getting into performance modifications, like the 2JZ motors, they sounded good. And when you have you get the cars and their exhaust is, built for a car, they're going to sound the part. They're going to sound wicked. So, we'll wait and see. But I'm excited to see what the future holds. So first time driving that Hurricane drivetrain, and I could not be more impressed, not even considering the size. It's just it's smooth. It gets up and goes. It impressed me, and I wanted to share that the ICE is not dead, and it'd be really cool to see it implemented or combined with some sort of hybrid system. I think that would be dope. I'd always like the idea of a muscle car with you got the instant torque of the motor, and then you still got the sound of the V8, or in this case it'd be a V6 or a straight six. The future is not all gloom and doom for enthusiasts. I think it's just opening up a lot more opportunities to go fast and look cool.
But so smooth. It was like riding a butter machine.
A butter? I wouldn't know.
It was like being in a butter hurricane.
Do you like a butter hurricane?